Hey, everybody, welcome to today's AMP session. We're delighted to have Leigh Smith with us. Leigh, welcome to AMP.
Thank you.
Guys, AMP is one of our programs we run here on a every other week basis if you're new to eXp or you're watching the replay and whatnot. And what it stands for is the Australian Mentor Program. And it's a chance for us to be able to share with you different trainings, different options, different things that are happening here at eXp that you can plug and play if you want to. So today I've invited Leigh to take the next 20, 30 minutes, and I'll just be asking you some questions, Leigh, about your experience. You were one of the first, if not one of the
Yes.
first,
Yeah. One of the first.
EXP agents in Australia to join EXP Luxury. Tell us about that experience, when you made that decision, and how you've gone about it.
Okay. Well, I pretty much made this decision straight away. Once we had a look, once we were given, it was introduced and they did the presentation and everything. I went, okay, that's for me. So I just jumped on and, it just resonated with me. And I think I thought it was just a great program and something that I could use in my business. I mean, we don't have a huge amount of luxury in our area. We do have, and there's a few sort of agents that own it. But yeah, I just decided that that fitted my brand and it fitted where I wanted to be and jumped on straight away.
Okay. And for agents that might be watching the replay or they're here and they don't know, tell us a little bit about what is EXP and then luxury. Tell us what that program involves, because not everyone can qualify straight away to be
Yeah.
involved with it and that kind of stuff. Just tell us a little bit about.
So they do the certification events. So you can either be certified that way, and then you've got to apply from there, and then they take it from there. Otherwise, if you don't do the certification, if you have sold a number of properties in the area that are luxury, but they have to fit the criteria of the each wherever it is, different states, different towns, different countries. It has to be some are like two and a half, some are two times, some are three times the median price value. So they look at that and then, but you have to have, and you've got to give proof of sales. So from a REWA or a realestate.com or something that shows a sold and listing authorities and things like that. And you have to show reports from your area that where your median price is. So that's how you do this to those two different ways. So I had been fortunate to have sold a few high-end properties that were in excess of the median price for that fitted. I think they were three times. So that I did that. I did the certification thing anyway that would have given me the certification, but yeah, so it's just been that and then joined and that's it, and then paid the money.
Yes, it is
And I
kind of
just think it's a value add. I know
yeah.
people go, oh, it's a lot of money, but it's a value add to your business. It's the same reason why I do the premier advertising on all the, platforms and things and that. If that is where you want to sit yourself as a business, so not for everybody, but then to me, it's just a value add for clients as well.
Yeah. And I love the way that you go about constructing your business because like we've got agents across the country that are on different maybe mindsets, but different places, and whatnot. You've selected, hey, this is where I want to be. This is where I want to be in the marketplace. And tell us about that process. How did you make that decision that that's where you want to live in that place in the market?
Um, I didn't openly make that decision. I just, that's where I want to go. So I don't know when I made that decision. It just was, this is for me, and this is where I want to go, and this is where I want to build my brand. So once I went on my own, and I could do it my own way under the XP model, I just thought that gave me the platform. And then the XP Luxury gave me that added platform where I could brand myself as my own business, free from all that constraint. Whereas I don't think I would have had that same feeling well, I didn't have it, working in a franchise model, because you were sort of closed in and that and not free. And I think once you have that freedom to think and be, you become your own, And so, and again, it's not for everybody. Some people want to work for eXp as commission only reps and do the same thing, and that's fine. But if you are like me and want that, I don't know, probably a rebellious nature, and you just want to break out the box a bit and do your own thing, yeah, I think that's why I did that, and that's where my mindset is. And so now, and as I grow within eXp and having gone on conference and meeting the people and different people, it brings new, and you continue to grow, which you have to continue to grow. And then you just, oh, okay, that sort of pushes your mindset along to that's where I want to be. I want to be like that. I want to do that with my business and take the bits and pieces that fit my business, my brand, and my area and build on that.
That's really good. And I love the fact that you're able to, at EXP, you're able to plug into the different things that suit you.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
you don't have to be like, okay, everybody now we're luxury agents, or now everybody we're doing this, or
Yeah. Yeah.
you
Yeah,
can,
exactly. And I think, because I think you have to be comfortable and confident in where you're at. If it doesn't fit you, then it's fake, isn't it? And then you feeling like you always on the treadmill. And I think that's another thing where EXP is good, that you can be who you are. Whereas if you're in a franchise model and employed, then you have to go along with whatever they say, and you have to be, and you feel the pressure that you're not, if you're not a top agent, or if you're not, that people feel undervalued and pressured. Whereas I think you can be who you want to be and have the life around your lifestyle and what you want to do. If you want to do one sale a month, or you want to do 50, if you want to be an icon agent, or if you're happy, if you want to build a team, if you want to join luxury, I think you have all those different options.
and I love EXP in the sense that, our mind is our most limiting factor.
Yeah.
And if you just kind of hunt around in EXP enough, you go, oh, that person's doing that. That's really cool. Or,
Yeah.
whatever. You don't have to just stay in a pigeonhole. Some people say real estate's boring, and I just say, well, if it's boring, you're not exploring enough, like
Yeah.
there's a lot to do.
I
So
think it's anything but boring.
absolutely, absolutely. So tell me a little bit about the tools that you get access to when you are a part of eXp Luxury.
Okay, so they have their own within the XP Okta world. So you have your own little dashboard, and you put your listings in there, and then that filters out. They do everything. They send it out to all the top, Forbes, Wall Street Journal, all the high end luxury only portals and publications and that. And then they've got hundreds of websites, and they put together a little video, and that goes on the Lux BT website page, which is what EXP just bought. So that's a portal as well that all other agents use around the world. And so you get that, you get all the design center. There's so much to use. I haven't even used what is there and what's available. So we are slowly tailoring things to the different countries as well, because obviously it's very American designed initially, but now they're learning on how we filter it out to the different countries. But there is everything in there, from business cards to brochures to publications to whatever you want is there in the design center. And now it's been transferred, now that EXP offer as part of the membership, everybody's membership, the Canva Pro. They now, if you're a luxury agent and you're a member, you have that in there as well in Canva. So it's easier for people that weren't sure about the design center and where to order from and what to do. So you have all those tools available to you. And you have mastermind sessions, which are all recorded because they're in different time zones. So you can go in there and listen to the masterminds and pick what fits you and your country and your business. And, so yeah.
How do you wade through? Because, some of my fellow countrymen sometimes are very important and they will let you know that they're very important. How do you wade through that? What's appropriate, maybe in the American context or the US context, filter through and bring the meat of that message back to what you're doing in Mandra?
Um,
Like when you're talking about the masterminds, like I'm sure there's stuff that's shared there, and
yeah.
you're like, "Oh, I would never do that," you know?
Yeah, exactly, exactly. Well, I mean, I guess the example is like when I went to XPCon, I was invited to a mastermind, which is the day before, which was the top 250 producers. And I think you can sometimes feel like, oh, and I was like, oh my goodness, how come I got invited to that? And then I went there, and then people were like, and they were up, beating their chests and
Yeah,
I sold this and, did 20 transactions last year. And I went, oh, well, I did 56. So,
yeah,
okay, okay, that's all right. I'm okay. But yes, you have to take that. And I guess some people, it depends. Some people get away with that. That's not my style. And, so you can be humble but I think sometimes we can also hide behind things. And I think you've got to have that confidence sometimes to push yourself out there. But you've just got to take what fits you and use that tool because otherwise you fake. We can't all be,
whatever, whoever. Yeah,
whatever.
yeah,
I don't want to name names,
yeah,
but some people are just, you have to be yourself and you have to be true to who you are and authentic. And especially now, because even with that, there's AI generated things, there's so many tools there. I mean, I would literally just sit and learn all day. I would do no work
yeah.
because there's so much to learn. So I have to cherry pick what's going to fit me and not add to where I'm just all the time learning the latest app and the latest, you know.
You mean you've actually got to do work?
Yes, you have to do.
Yeah, you actually have
Believe
to
me,
do
you
the.
have to do work. So
It's one thing I know about Leigh Smith is she's not afraid to do the work. She's rolling up her sleeves, getting straight in there. So maybe we can just transition and talk just for a minute about. So you generate an appraisal somehow, whatever that is, and you are going into the lounge room, the dining room table, the canal side balcony, wherever you're discussing with property. How do you introduce eXp luxury? How do you talk about it? How do you sell the benefits of that help them decide to use Leigh Smith?
so so I would do my normal, just about what I do and how I would present it. And then I bring in the luxury as a value add. So, this is the next thing. So, and I explain how it works and how that would benefit and I think you've got to be careful, because especially in Australia, so you've got to tailor it to that way because there are rules and regulations about it, international people buying property.
Hmm.
So, and people can go, oh, it's on all these international websites and da 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 da. But you have to explain how you use that and how it promotes, but how it elevates their brand, you know, being seen in all these places. And it's generally expats, because unless it's a new development. So
Yeah.
that, if you've got not good new luxurious developments, this is a perfect portal because overseas investors can buy into them and things like that. So it just depends. But if it's just your normal standard home, so I use it as a value add
Hmm.
for them. And yeah,
So
so
what would a
that
client be expecting to somebody on the canals in Mandra, a beautiful home overlooking, whatever. Um, what would they expect to spend in addition to a normal marketing campaign to participate in some of the other offerings that eXp Luxury has?
sometimes they like to spend less.
Yeah, yeah,
The more luxury ones
yeah, yeah.
so but generally they will spend because that is what I do is I believe that everybody needs to spend the money on the marketing. So they do the premiere. So it's all rolled into the package. I break it down, and generally they're pretty much the same. They'll spend a little bit more, because obviously they would have, twilight photos or a video walkthrough or things like that we would, if that's fitted the home. So, probably I'd say they probably only spend about 500 to 800 more. A lot of people do video. full videos, but often the agent covers that because it's their brand for themselves.
Yeah.
But yeah, so some of them will spend a lot more. Depends if if it's a holiday home down here and they have and they used to the Perth market or other markets, then where their marketing budgets are much higher and the spend is higher. So
Yeah.
yeah. So I do, and so it's not a whole lot more, but yes, they would be some are willing to they understand branding, they understand marketing, they understand where they want to see their property. So if they don't, then it's a little bit harder.
And what's your education process around explaining that to people? Because you just mentioned something. If they're not local to Mandurah, they might get it more than. For those who don't know, Mandurah has an overabundance of real estate agents, so an overabundance of options for people to
Yeah.
choose from. I suppose what I'm thinking is, how do you cut through the noise? Where people are going, "Oh no, don't worry about it. We won't charge you for that. We won't charge you for that. In fact, we'll pay you to sell your house." That almost
Yeah.
that that mentality.
Oh, and it's becoming more and more. I kind of just like, well, that's, so, and that is my thing when I go in, I tell people straight up, I'm not the cheapest. I know that.
Yeah,
My marketing's not the cheapest. My fees are not the cheapest. I tell them straight up when people ring and go, I'm just checking what fees are, I'll come around and it is. And then a lot of them are now coming to me and saying, this is what I'm getting. And I'm like, oh, well, then
this is
I'm
what
not.
you chose.
That's good. I hope that they do well for you.
Yeah,
So, I will I have to you have to stand by, otherwise it's just a race to the bottom,
yeah,
and they don't deliver. I know, and I am 100% comfortable and confident in telling them straight they will not work for you like I work for you. Because I
yeah,
know that fact.
yeah,
That's a fact of that I will work harder. And generally, the marketing does bring a better price,
yeah. More
you know?
exposure, more
Yeah,
more exposure.
yeah,
Yeah,
100%. So
yeah.
if you spend the money on the marketing across the portals and you're seen in various places, it will bring you a better price. And an
Okay.
agent is willing to negotiate and not drop on their fees immediately.
Yeah. Which many are in your location.
Yes, they are. Many are. So free marketing,
Yeah,
discount or whatever. But then I meet clients that go, they never answer their phone.
yeah, yeah. Well, that wasn't included in the service
No.
that they charge. Take
Yeah.
us back and talk us through a little bit more about the masterminds that you get the option to click into. How often are they done? What kind of topics are they talking about in those masterminds?
Are they done all the time? So, that and every week, and then they got different ones. They talk about, how branding, personal branding, various things. I don't always get on to them,
Yeah,
but they are there for everybody. So it'll talk about listings. It'll talk about in some areas because obviously some Americans is the buyer and seller, agent working. But it's still good. It's good for us to see how we could work better together with conjuncting and that, and how we can have that discussion with other agents. Um, when they're supporting people within their team and in their downline on luxury. So, you learn about that as well. And a lot of it's to do with the branding and the home and what is luxury. Yeah, so it's just your general mastermind of really top agents, um, that do sell extremely luxurious property, some of them.
yeah, yeah,
So, it's like you dream about walking through those, so it's yeah, so but it varies, and it varies on price point. Like what luxury in some places in the world, you're only paying 500,000 US dollars, but
yeah,
it's a magnificent mansion that would probably be 5 million. But so it all depends. But at the end of the day, we all do the same work, really, and service clients the same way. So yeah, so it gives you that confidence, it gives you that encouragement, it makes you feel part of something because we're all working remotely. or in our individual little businesses, but you have that connection.
Talking about that, I wanted something popped in my head. I want to ask you about. So, because Leigh and I know the same area, so moving away from greenfields, how you would qualify a buyer in greenfields versus someone on a luxury property on the canals or a luxury estate somewhere. Do you do anything different in qualifying buyers?
No, no, I don't do anything different because it's the same. It's just that their
They're
budgets are
more
different.
zeros.
Yeah, yeah. So no, I don't do anything different.
Yeah. Okay. I
So
just was curious as
yeah.
whether there was anything that you added to your repertoire to do.
No, 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 just the same. Just in a different way. Just would maybe not have to explain the same sort of things to, like a first time buyer in their very first home. So that sort of thing. The conversation goes to where they're at
Yeah.
and find out, but generally it is the same.
Yeah.
You're qualifying them, you're finding out where they're at, what their story is, and how that fits the property, and how motivated they are as a buyer, and if, they're on the same page. So that, and the other thing, going back to the presentation, is in that portal is that you have a presentation that you can send out straight away. You just pop in a photo of the property, but then when you come back after the present, when you send out your proposal, there is an eXp luxury proposal.
Right. So they're getting
So
just
you
a
would
little bit
send you
more.
send your normal one that I use, Proposal Point or Realty or whatever people
Yeah.
use, but then you have a luxury one in the portal. It's all there. You just pop in the photo and the address, and it puts together a presentation which you can then email, you can print, you can choose whichever.
Okay. That's really good. And and if you were coaching someone in your downline, let's say, or whatnot, and they were thinking about doing that, they're normally saying in the Mandarin area they're selling, $600,000 homes, and now they want to step up into the 1.5 to the $2 million homes. What do they need to do? What are the steps that they need to do to make that migration?
I think number one, they have to believe it in themselves. So, and they have to see themselves comfortable and in that environment, and understand that the process is still the same. It's just a house with, it's just more zeros.
Yeah,
So it's still a house. It's still people need to live there. It's exactly the same as what you would do, but I also think you have to make sure your brand fits that.
yeah. Speaking of
Yeah.
that, you recently retooled your brand over the last little while to embrace the EXP luxury. How did that come about? How did that work for you? What's the feedback on that? Like, your website you've changed and a few bits and pieces.
So I think it was just a slight tweak in the
Mm-hmm.
colors and bringing in the powered by EXP luxury. However, it's this there's basically two, because on signboards and on printed collateral and that, if it has to be a luxury property to have the powered by EXP luxury. And so I have the two. So, it's like, which the signboard has just powered by EXP, this one has powered by EXP luxury. And so, but I have then incorporated the gold. There used to be, so it was always black and white, and it had a slight pink in it, but I've now just moved to the gold so that it flows and it fits, and it's, because you you have to be careful that you don't do brand damage in
Yeah.
having that freedom of building things, rather than, because you want to build the brand
It's
that you're
really
part of
easy to
as
go
well.
off the rails. Like,
Yeah, because you want to build the brand that you're part of as well.
yeah,
So although you're building your own brand, you also want to build that network that you're part of, because then everybody, is on the same, and then you're not seen as the only person, but like a friend, against a franchise or whatever. So I've tweaked that. Had a couple of people say that. Most people hadn't really noticed the big change because it's still a lot, it's still the same. Um, but yeah, it's just the gold in that. I prefer it. I think it's better. I feel better with that now being because I was struggling in the beginning of that's luxury. That's not luxury. So now the brands have are one, but
Yeah.
just that slightly different wording on the different properties. So
Yeah.
now
So you've
it flows better across
you've
everything.
got an overall generalized look, and then you
Yeah,
just add in the elements that are for
yeah,
those listings that are
yeah,
EXP luxury kind of
yeah,
listings.
yeah, yeah,
That's really good. Any
yeah.
final thoughts you want to share with the crew or those watching the replay about your choice to move into EXP luxury? Any thing that you want to share?
I think if you want to, but I think that you don't have, you shouldn't feel pressured. But I think that if it fits you, then you do it. And I think it's one of those value added things. And, often people measure things and go, well, I'm paying for that, but I've only got 3 leads or whatever. This is a journey, So I've done that. I jumped on board the first year my renewal came up and it was no hesitation, right? I've filtered, I've changed, I've moved, I've maneuvered. It takes time. And then now I've got a plan for the next year of how it'll all come together.
I think that's it. You saying it's a journey is just the perfect metaphor for it. It reminds me I was driving through Margaret River wine country on the weekend.
Oh,
I know, feel sorry for me. I'm a
oh.
non-drinker. Lee's a non-drinker as well, but it's still beautiful country.
We can still like it.
Yeah. but but I was driving past some wineries that my wife and I used to drive past 10, 15 years ago. There were just little
Yeah,
sprigs of grapes in the ground then. Now they're big flourishing vines and whatnot. And I think that's the same for a real estate person's business as well.
yeah,
And your real estate journey with luxury is proving the same. It started off small. You maybe had the first listing or two, and you're adding, you're changing, and it's just fantastic to see.
yeah.
So congratulations on all of your success, and thanks for taking time out of your schedule
Thank you.
to share with
Thank you.
us a little bit about your journey.
Thank you.
Cool. All right, guys, thanks for joining us on this episode of AMP. The recording of this will be available very, very soon, and we wish all of you a wonderful, successful 2025.